Have you ever been in thought about something and then asked someone a question and then immediately regretted it? Not because your question was inappropriate, but just because maybe that person doesn't have the capacity to answer it, or it's not going to be as thought out as you would have expected. Has that ever happened to you? That's what we're going to be talking about today, because sometimes there's a need for us to use hearing aids to hear clearly. And there's other instances where we need to have some type of filter into what we are receiving in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the KimUnity Soulutions Podcast, the only podcast that inspires humanity and leadership within and beyond the workplace. What is it that's been on your mind that you've actually asked someone a question and then immediately regretted it? It doesn't have to be something extravagant or in depth, but it happens. It could be about your career goals. It could be about your business, your dreams, your vision. And for some reason, you're in this environment where you're thinking about it and you ask a question and the response you get is, you're thinking, that's not where I was going with that. That's not what I meant. That's not my intentions. That's not my heart. You see, we have to be careful of what we're speaking, who we're speaking to, and also what we are listening in, what we are intaking. Because our ears are sensitive and it can lead us into a different direction. It can lead us into a different thought realm. That we have to be more aware, more cognizant of the environments that we are placing ourselves in, the people that we are hanging around, because there is so much noise out there. There's so much, even if you're not asking questions, you can be out and about and just start hearing things and taking in things. And then it starts affecting your spirit and your thoughts. You started one way, your energy level, your frequency started one way, and by the time you leave, you're in a totally different mood. So we have to be careful of what we are allowing in our space. We have to create safe spaces for ourselves. And I say this, and this all came about, and again, I am Kim, the SME. I'm only speaking about my experiences, but this came about because I was just asking a simple question. But the response that I received is like it wasn't even in the direction I was going. And then my mind started to think after, hours after our conversation, like, wow, I wasn't even thinking that way. Had I not been clear about my own vision, I could have been swayed into a different direction. So I would say first, we have to make sure that we are clear about what we are trying to do before you even present it to someone else, before it even becomes a discussion topic. Be aware of what you are putting into the atmosphere. Be aware of who you are speaking to. And then also have that filtering ear so that we can hear what's needed and then kind of scrap or put to the side the other things. This has happened to me a couple of times. The first was with a mentor, and I was basically explaining my vision, this was years ago, explaining what I foresaw and what I was trying to do when I was asking for their guidance on getting there. And what they were telling me was basically what everyone else does. Like, this is the formula. You do this, 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 and this. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, but I wasn't trying to go that direction. That was going to take me somewhere else. I'm trying to get over here and you're leading me over here. This is what was going through my mind. I'm taking in the information, but I'm also thinking, okay, did I communicate it well to where they have a good understanding of where I'm trying to go? Or are they just only, using a template that ask these basic questions, and then this is the direction that you need to go. These are the steps that you need to take. But when you're a trailblazer, there is no template. And so that's the thing. If you have a vision, if you have a goal, if you foresee something, if God is giving you something that you are pursuing, you can't use everyone's template. You can't use everyone's direction. Because where they are trying to take you is where someone else has already been. And so we have to be able to discern that information. We have to be able to think it through. We have to be clear on where we are headed. Otherwise, we will drift into a totally different direction and dimension. Be aware, ladies and gentlemen. Be clear on your assignment. Be clear on your goals. And what happens is, and what I have learned is, sometimes you can only be led for a certain distance. Someone can only lead you, for so far until you have to take that unbeaten path. They may be experts in getting you to point A, but then you're going to have to, detour off into the direction you're trying to go. And you may need another mentor at that point. Or you may need guidance for that direction. So number one, we have to be clear on where we're going. Number two, we have to be aware of who we're speaking to. And we have to filter. We have to think about, okay, do they have the experience? Do they have the knowledge? Do they have the fruit? What have they grown? What have they grown? And is it close to what you're trying to do? Because all advice is not good advice. Yes, some businesses are cut and dry. There is a template that you can follow and be successful. I'm not saying that those companies or those businesses are not successful. Those dreams, those careers, whatever it is you're trying to do, there may already be a prepared template that you can just cut and paste and apply to what you're doing. On the other hand, there are other scenarios to where that's not the case. We have to create it as we go. We have to fill it out. We have to take some losses to learn and to make the proper adjustments. And that is okay too. But I just want us all, regardless of where you're trying to get, whatever your destination is intended, take it seriously with whom you're sharing it with. Take it seriously about, what you're sharing and what you are allowing in. We have to trust our intuition. We have to create boundaries. We have to be careful not to share information too soon. Doing so, by letting the noise in, it creates distractions. It creates confusion. It can even create doubt. I remember when I first started my business, I didn't tell anyone about it because I didn't want to be swayed in any direction. I didn't want anyone to tell me that it's not a good idea. Because I understood that I did not understand. I understood that I did not understand. I did not have all the details. I knew where I was trying to go. I knew the elements of it, but I was still trying to put the pieces together. And if I was to let any kind of noise come in, it could have swayed me from my dreams. I could have, chosen the easier route and followed somebody else's path. I could have said, okay, well, maybe they're right. Maybe my dream is too big, or maybe it's not possible. Maybe I'm not the person for it. Maybe I'm not good at that. Be careful of what you are listening to. Filter your ears. Sometimes we have to take those hearing aids out and put the filters in. Put them in. You have been chosen and given a seed, given a vision. You are the person for that job. You are the perfect person to get it done. And you have the experience for it. All of those life challenges, all of those life experiences that you've been through have given you knowledge that other people do not have. This is why it came into your mind. This is why it's in your heart. This is why you're so passionate about it, because you've been there. And who else to lead someone else than you? You've been there. You understand how it feels. You understand the circumstances. You know all of the different elements. It's for you. And with that being said, you can't take everyone's advice because they have not been there. You have to curate it with your experiences and your knowledge. Choose the right voices. We have to have that discerning ear. Choose the right voices. You can't listen to everyone who, let's say you're unhappy in your place of employment. And you're listening to all of these people saying, quit your job. You don't have to be there. Wait a minute. Now you need to really think about that. They may not understand your situation. They may not understand your limited resources. They may not understand, all that you're going through and how that can jeopardize your future. You have to get in some deep thought. You have to get into prayer if that's what you believe in. You need some downtime. You need some alone time. You really need to think it through and not just take what is given to you. Just like ChatGPT, if you have started using ChatGPT or you've heard about it, you know that you can put in a question and it will spit out a response. But you have to be careful about the response that you are reading and receiving. You can't just trust it because it's that system. You have to ask more questions. You have to dig into it. You have to research it. You have to prove it out. Let's stop being so naive. Let's stop being so profit-driven that we start making these quick decisions that delay us from our destiny. This is what was on my heart today, just from a simple conversation that I was having. It was like, okay, I can see how this could go left for anyone. And maybe you've already experienced it. I can tell you many stories about people who have taken advice from someone and it ended up being to their detriment. I know people who have lost properties because they knew how to make the money, but they didn't know how to protect it. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to make sure our decisions are well-rounded. We have to think about all of the protection, everything that goes along with it, not just one-dimensional. I don't know what you're going through right now. I don't know what decisions that you are in the process of making. I don't know who's in your circle. But what I do know is that we are surrounded by so many different opinions and voices, whether it's through radio, it's through YouTube, it's through family and friends, it's through news articles, it's through policies. We are surrounded by so much. And much of it is from people that we do not know. Be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful, be wise, and I wish you much success. Again, this was on my heart, and I wanted to share it with you. Let's be wise about this. Let's be wise about what we're hearing. And this message is not just for adults, it's for the children too. There's certain movies and certain songs that I'm saying, you shouldn't be listening to that. I don't receive that. Or I will change the words because the words can be so negative. I say, no, not in this house. We say this. Change the words to say this. Use protection. Use protection. I am your host, Kim the SME. I hope you've taken something from what I said and applied it to whether it's a small, scenario or something major. I'm speaking from my experiences. Kim the SME. I really hope that you have found something, heard something that you can apply, you can be more aware of, and that brings you closer to your purpose. Until next time, you all be blessed. Bye-bye.